All right, we're back. Episode 2 of Robbie Watches Antiques Roadshow and gives his opinion on whatever he wants to talk about. Here we go. This is, anyways.
Well, it's a carved panel I picked up in one of the suburbs of New Orleans. It was offered online, and I happened to run across the ad, and I saw the image of this panel, and I was quite in awe of the detail of this carving, and I knew that I had to find out more about it.
And how long ago was that?
I picked it up in April. I dabble in, I call it junking.
He dabbles in junking.
And I've been doing it for some time.
He's been junking for some time.
It was being used as a side door to a garage.
It was being used for the garage.
And the man couldn't use it because it was too heavy to use constantly with his...
It was too heavy to be used constantly.
Children and his dog, and so he wanted enough just to buy an exterior door to put in his garage.
Well, when we take a look at it, it's monumental. And
monumental. Looks like they have a new door handle on that. That's going to bring the price down.
I think originally it was indeed made as a door. Always difficult to tell exact age. And we tend to do so looking stylistically at the carving.
Okay.
First of all, it's very heavy, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
And when we looked at the wood, it's mahogany. And
Okay.
it's made in sections and pieced together. And by piecing it together, it would actually give it more strength. One of the things we see here is the word "In God We Trust." And that first appeared on the 2-cent coin in 1864.
Whoa, the 2-cent coin.
When we look at the eagle, we sure have a stylized bird. And it's a little bit chicken, a little bit turkey, a little bit eagle. And just the angles and the way the bird is carved wants to make you think that this was done possibly 20s, 30s, not 19th century. Now, I would eventually take that handle off when you're displaying it. I think it would look a lot more attractive.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. I said it first.
It's had a few coats of paint, but quite pleasant in a monochromatic tone. It's really just a wonderful decorative piece of folk art. And it's no body of work that we know of by this particular carver. A little bit difficult to display, but I think it would look amazing if you could mount it on a wall of a home and put some light on it.
Yeah, putting doors on walls. I mean, it essentially, yeah, sure, it's a panel.
So we're going to place a retail valuation of $4,000 to $6,000 on this.
Wow. I wasn't
And how about with the handle out of it?
going to say that, but I'm impressed. I am impressed.
You didn't tell
He's a sometime junker that's impressed.
me what you paid for the door.
It was modest. I gave the man $180 for the door. He was
Okay.
asking $200, and I had to drive 50 miles to get it, so he cut down $20 on it.
Okay.
And if you're out there, buddy, I'll give you $20 I cut from you.
That's coming from a real junker.
Well, it'll be for sale, 'cause I don't want to keep it.
And they cut out that guy's mic. They cut out the appraiser's mic. They're like, okay.
It's done by Charles Lolema, who is a Hopi artist, Hopi jeweler. I was with my mother in the early to mid 80s in Santa Fe when she bought it.
Yeah, I'm sure she was with her mother.
There was a Charles Lolema show, and Mother had always wanted a piece of his jewelry, and so we went to the show, and she bought this.
What was happening in her mom's life when she just had to do that retail therapy? Makes you think.
And he was there?
He
or-
was there. I met him.
Yeah.
Sort of a little short man.
Yeah. He was born in 21, so he would have been in his late 60s.
Probably, yeah, because I think he died in 91.
91.
My mom wanted some short man jewelry. Yep.
Yeah. Charles Lolema, in my mind, is one of the most important American jewelers
Really?
ever.
Get me a new appraiser. New appraiser.
Wow.
Not just American Indian jewelers, but just
American.
jewelers. I really should say artist. And he did other art forms too. He didn't just do jewelry. And this is one of his
Yeah, who just does jewelry?
masterpieces, without question. And we've had jewelry on here before. It's always important because it's his. Loloma was Hopi, as you know, and was born in one of the old pueblos in northern Arizona.
Right.
And spent most of his life in northern Arizona. Because he was born in the 20s, he was raised in a very traditional environment. And he worked in different styles.
Right.
And he used different techniques. But to
Oh my gosh, an artist that works in different styles and techniques?
create this took a tremendous amount of work. When you look at these stones, he was a lapidarist. He cut these stones. It has the blue lapis lazuli. It has sky stone or turquoise, which would have been his traditional working stone. And then it's got highlights done with red Mediterranean coral and very deep purple amethyst. The small ones are almost black. They're so dark.
Yeah, that amethyst looks good, actually.
He cut each one of these pieces and fit them together on a flat surface and then formed them and ground them to where the edges fit and set them in 14 karat gold.
And then he sold that to your mom. I don't know if the jeweler sold it to him. Probably not. I'm obviously not listening.
No, I didn't realize there was that much work to it.
It's a tremendous
I thought he just pasted them on and it would stick.
amount of work. I've had some of his more traditional pieces that were sand cast or tufa cast, they call it, but they just had one stone set in it. And they were worth a tremendous amount. But this kind of work, this is what he's known for. You've probably seen some of them where he actually inlaid the inside of the bracelet as well. And it dates to about the time of the exhibit. I don't think it's any earlier than that. As it should be, this is stamped with Loloma's mark from that era. And you can see it on the inside here. It's kind of small, but it is stamped in there and very clear. And he's finally been recognized as the great artist that he was. What do you think this is worth? I know you've got an idea.
Well, a couple of years ago, I got online and saw some.
Oh, this is pretty spicy when they ask the person who doesn't know anything.
Similar pieces that were 25 to 30,000.
Yeah.
I don't know. She paid $5,200 for it, and that was in the early to mid '80s. So I don't know for sure what it's worth now, but I know his pieces are quite valuable.
At that
What do you think? I think it's. Anyways.
time, that was a significant amount of money. If this piece came up for sale at auction, I think it would easily bring 40 to 50,000, and perhaps as high as 55,000.
Oh my!
It's just fabulous. It's the top of his work.
I knew it was a wonderful piece. I didn't realize that it had appreciated that much.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous. I love it.
And you do wear it?
I
or-
do wear it.
Good.
I do. People don't know what it is, though.
Who cares?
I
That
know.
may be better.
It's better. It's better. They don't know.
Oh, it's good. With a good appraisal, you get a good laugh, and it's important. It's important that you both enjoy your art, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. And then you get a good laugh. And hopefully you get appraised. You get a good appraisal. And you're on the beneficiary, you're benefiting from all the time you're spending at the Roadshow. Also, shout out to Charles Loloma. Probably, obviously a great artist.
You can just use a screwdriver and tighten this up a little bit. And that's all you need to do to make this work.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing wrong with it. And that's all you have to do.
Okay.
Simple technology.
Nice.
Seems like you probably need strings, but I guess he's got those.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
It's actually a brass case that has a gold wash on it, and it was imparted with a combination of gold and mercury. It's no longer done. It was a dangerous process. The mercury would evaporate and deposit the gold on the surface, and that's why after 125 years, it looks like this. It's almost like the day it was made.
It's probably a German import, typical of the cavalry sabers that came in during the Civil War. Obviously, it's got some condition issues, but we call this attic mint. It's totally untouched. In today's market, auction estimates $200 to $300, something like that.
Well, it's been in my family ever since I can remember. My grandparents,
Oh, good old-fashioned gambling.
great-grandparents had a lot of antiques, and it's one of the things that I was fortunate enough to get. My brother told me it might have been something that was used back on the trains for gambling.
It's a traveling gambling wheel.
Right.
And probably taken by the con man around to the bars and the trains and wherever he could get some people
Sounds
to hustle
fun.
them out of money. I don't know the calculating the odds, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty much in favor of the house. I think it's right around 1900, 1899, and it was made in Chicago. Chicago was where most of the really great gambling equipment was made. I've never seen this maker, which is kind of interesting, and the condition is really, really good for the age of it. I think at auction...
But is he going to bet? He's going to make a bet on how much it's worth. You get it?
It should certainly bring in the $1,500 range.
Really?
Well, just give it a spin and
Yeah.
round and round she goes. Where it stops, nobody knows.
There you go.
It belonged to my Aunt Merle, my great Aunt Merle, my grandfather's sister. She was an opera singer. And
Actually, the appraisers, you know, they're doing a good job. I don't really know a lot of what it takes, but you probably have to be an art historian or just know your stuff. I think they're more, I mean, they look at something, they do a little research, do a little internet search, get back to them.
I believe it was given to her by a friend who was also in the opera business, but it was a deep, dark secret who gave it to her. She never wanted to say.
And how long ago was it?
Probably in the 20s, 1920s, that she
It was probably some fling or hush money.
got it. She sang abroad, and she also sang for the Met in New York. After she died, my father brought back things from her place and Joan's mine, and she's very precious to me.
So you call her Joan?
I call her Joan.
A very close, friendly relationship.
We're good friends. However, she's in the corner all the time.
This is
She might get rid of Joan if Joan's worth $50,000.
great depiction of Joan of Arc. And, of course, being here in New Orleans, it's wonderful
Very
that
appropriate.
she was the Maid of Orleans. She's just a wonderful, famous historical figure. She was a participant in the 100 Years' War. And, of course, as everybody knows, she was burned at the stake in the 15th century.
I bet she eats steak.
She was one of the patron saints of France. I love the way she's depicted, hands folded, looking up towards the heavens in her full battle gear.
Yes.
This is what's so
They could have said regalia.
wonderful about French sculpture is the amount of detail that's in the
Right.
piece. Very clear modeling of all her armor, all the little rivets and all the details, and I love her shoes.
Her shoes, aren't they something?
I'll point out the signature of the artist. His name was Antonin Mercier. And as you can see, it's just fully modeled with her spurs. Here's her great helmet. Here's her sword. Wonderful buckle. So it's really a spectacular depiction of this great, great heroine. Mercier was one of the leading artists in France in the middle part of the 19th century. He was phenomenal success. He won the famous Prix de Rome. He exhibited a number of salons.
Right.
He won gold medals at a number of international exhibitions. His most famous work is David and Goliath, which is in the Musée d'Orsay in Paris.
Oh, okay.
This was commissioned in 1890, and there's a monumental-sized version of this in the town of Domremy de Pucelle, sorry for the French, in France. So do you have any
I'm gonna apologize for speaking a different language.
idea of the value of it?
My father had it appraised back in the 80s for around 2000, but I've never had it appraised.
The market is not particularly strong for these, even though it's such a spectacular subject by the leading artists of the 19th century. But I think in a retail setting, it would probably be between $5,000 and $7,000.
Well, that's nice to know. We mostly just wanted to find out information about her. I have no intentions of selling her.
Great.
She's just a special family heirloom.
Family. I actually like when if this show just had a bunch of people talking with, none of their voices being picked up. That actually might be kind of entertaining. Maybe I should just mute it and talk for them. Yeah. Maybe another episode.
Today I brought a painting that belonged to my parents and hung in their living room throughout my childhood. It's a painting that I'm told is by an artist called Clarence Millet. And my parents, who were married in 1938, were very enamored with local artists, and they acquired this painting, I was told, in the French Quarter. This was always my mother's favorite painting, and it's a favorite of mine because my husband and I were married at St. Louis Cathedral.
Do you have any idea what your parents may have paid for the painting?
No, but I can't imagine it was much.
It is an oil painting by Clarence Millet. It is on a canvas that's been wrapped around board. It is signed in the lower right. He was born in Louisiana. He stayed here most of his life. When he was 17, he did move to New Orleans, and that's when he studied with some Chicago artists named Robert Grafton and Louis Oscar Griffith. They were working in the French Quarter. They had been to Paris and studied with the Impressionists, and that's really where Impressionism kind of got him interested in painting. Griffith and Grafton both saw that he had talent, and they really encouraged him to study painting. So he went to Tulane. He then went to the Art Students League in New York. But he came back, and by 1925, he set up a studio in the French Quarter. So your parents probably bought this in the first 10 years of his career, where he was really just painting and selling his paintings out of that studio. And as you mentioned, you thought your parents probably bought it before 1938. So we don't have a date on the painting, but it's safe to say that it would have been painted somewhere between 1925 and the mid-1930s. Now the frame,
It's very blue.
I think, is original. So it really mimics the colors in the painting. It certainly works well together. It is Jackson Square. We have the cathedral in the background. We have two ladies in the foreground. Looks like it may be after rain. He really creates a mood. There's a kind of a famous quote where he said he wanted to paint the things that he saw and he felt and let other people experience that same feeling. If we were going to put this painting at auction, the estimate would be $8,000 to $12,000.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's nice. It's not going anywhere, but it's nice to know.
Dude, I'd probably get rid of that. But maybe it's just not my style. It's very blue. I do like blue, but $8,000. I don't know. What would I do with $8,000? Who knows?
My husband and I are originally from Los Angeles. He's a congregational rabbi, now retired. And while I was working in Japan in the late 80s, he had a phone call asking if he would officiate at the funeral of somebody that wasn't a member of the congregation, and met this woman, and she was charmed by him, and he officiated at her husband's funeral. And she invited him to dinner, and he said, well, my fiance is coming back from Japan. Would you mind if it was the three of us? And on Sunday evenings, she had a particular restaurant in Los Angeles, which she
So this is like really a story.
would go to, Trader Vic's. And we were part of the Trader Vic's Sunday night dinner event. And this took place probably once a month for almost 12 years. And when she passed, she left these two items to me in her will, and I remember admiring the ring because that was something that she would always wear when I'd see her Sunday night.
Now, have you ever had an appraisal done on the bracelet or the ring?
Just on the bracelet. And at the time in the early 2000s, I think they said it might have.
It's like, hey, I knew this woman. I was friends with this woman who just always, she wore this ring. And then she gave the ring to me when she stopped wearing it. Whoa.
Been 10 grand, but I've never had the ring appraised.
The bracelet's kind of a classic 1940s bracelet. We can tell it has some European cut diamonds in it. If you look through the bracelet, the larger round stones all add up to about 8 carats total weight.
Wow.
Then we have these baguettes, what they call straight baguettes, kind of basket weaved throughout it. And in those is another 10 carats of diamonds.
Whoa.
It's a Jewish appraisal. It's
Wow.
18 carats, that's chai. It's
Yes,
good luck.
that is good luck.
And then it's made out of platinum, classic.
Oh,
It's
wow.
built like a truck. That bracelet will never wear out.
Oh,
And it's fantastic. Couldn't find a signature.
okay.
But when I see this kind of bracelet and the metalwork is a little heavy, it leads me to think something like this was probably made in the United States, probably New York. I
Okay.
mean, she was out in LA. It certainly could have been made there. And if I told you that $10,000 today for appraisal is low. Today, if I had to reappraise that for auction, I would tell you that that bracelet would be $15,000 to $20,000.
Wow. That's quite a gift.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not here for the bracelet. I'm here for the ring.
Oh, really?
All right?
Okay.
So let's go.
Okay.
So first, I love the form. I love pearls. Your pearl in the middle is about 14 millimeters. It's a little bit of a button pearl. Instead of being very round, it's sloped down a little bit. Some pearls are cultured, some are natural, and we're kind of assuming that this is cultured. I mean, down the road, you could always have it x-rayed. If we turn it to the side, everybody can see it's beautifully set, what we call pave set diamonds. They're set so close together, there's 1 or 2 beads holding each other in.
Oh.
It's made out of platinum. The pearl is later. The bracelet's from the 40s. I talked to my colleagues, and we feel the ring is probably mid-20th century, maybe early 60s.
Okay.
Well, he talked to his friends about this. I mean, that makes sense. I couldn't imagine doing much with such an expense. You don't want like your fingers to get smacked and like a diamond falls out. Anyways.
Platinum, about 6 carats of diamonds. Now, when we turn the ring around
Yes.
and we pull it off, over here is where the magic starts to happen. We can see right over here, it is signed. VCA.
Van Cleef and Arpels.
Yeah.
Holy moly, she said something about Van Cleef and Arpels. I always thought it was the bracelet.
I know you did.
Wow. Wow.
You asked me.
Amazing, because I asked you earlier. Wow.
What did I say?
You said no, not the bracelet. But you didn't tell me anything about the ring. Wow, what a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise for me, too.
Yeah.
This is the kicker. If the ring came up for sale,
Yes, sir.
I feel very strongly for it at auction at $20,000 to $30,000.
As Shirley Temple would say, oh my goodness.
And,
Wow.
And it's the kind of thing I think would get to the high end of the estimate pretty quick,
Wow.
because Van Cleef is very sought after. If I was doing this for insurance replacement value, I believe you'd have to put the bracelet at $35,000.
Wow, amazing.
But the ring, because it's Van Cleef, for insurance replacement, would probably be close to the $60,000.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
Well, that's today. That's episode 2. Sorry if it was boring. Comment below if it was boring. If you made it this far, it must have been boring. If you have a suggestion of a different show I should watch, let me know. Peace.